The state of the economy is all opinion based at this point. There's no one who truly knows the state of the economy. You go on Twitter, you go on all the news outlets, you talk to any economist, and they all agree it's not good, but they're not sure where it ends up, right? I mean, obviously, if anyone could tell the future, they'd be fucking Superman, trillionaire, they'd be Tony Stark, whatever. The state of the economy, in my opinion, is not in good shape. As we just saw last month, inflation rates are still rising. Inflation is still coming up 0.6 higher than expected, which means the federal government has to keep raising the rates to get inflation lower. And when we hit that point where we're at 4, 5, 6% inflation and 4, 5, 6% rates, we're going to enter that stagflationary period where they're not going to, if they don't raise the rates, inflation may creep back up. And when they continue to raise the rates, they're tipping the US economy boat over into a recession. So, in my opinion, even though the federal government keeps saying and the Fed keeps saying that a recession is avoidable, I think it's inevitable at this point, given the last 2, 3 years of the complete overreaction in monetary policy due to COVID and due to the entire last 3 years of the stock market's insanely inflated artificial move. I think that a recession is necessary to reset us back to the right path that we were on. It's kind of like we were driving a car and then we got into an airplane for a little while, but the airplane's got to come back down for us to get back into the car, for us to get to our destination. Does that make sense? So, if I had to pick an emotion which makes me feel about the economy, I would say I'm emotionless. I would say that I am just going to sit back. I would think that cash is king over the next few years, keeping yourself tight, secure. Um, I would say most of the American population is concerned, though. If that's an emotion I had to tie with the U.S. economy right now, I would say it's very concerning. Going into a recession, there's an old saying that when the stock market goes up, it can make you rich, but when the stock market goes down, it can make you wealthy. You never really will be able to time the drop, right? The recession drop, the aggressive downtrend like last year. But if you were to enter any bearish option strategy in the stock market over the long run, you will make a long, consistent gains, right? The amount of volatility that spikes with a recessionary market increases the amount of those bearish option strategies tenfold. So a normal put option that you would get 200% on, 300% on because of the implied volatility spike during a recessionary drop, you're going to get 2000% on that play. So the best way to make money during a recession is finding the inverted stocks if you're naturally bullish, like the VIX, like the inverted SPY, and simply buying shares of those to hedge off your long-term portfolios. You have to think of a hedge state of mind. How can I protect my army of finance? So for me personally, bearish options derivatives and inverted stocks, I'm going to start taking my wheel strategy profits and reinvesting into those inverted ones. You know, if you own 1,000 shares of a stock and you make $200, buy a $200 leap put and start hedging off some of that upside risk to the downside, I would say over the next 18 months.